Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Finally a great episode. But as always, before I get into my review, if you're new to this channel, hello and welcome. I summarize and review the latest Central Kapımı episode, say what I like, what I didn't like, what I think might happen next. If you like these kinds of videos, like, comment and share, but most importantly subscribe so we can meet on a weekly basis. So the main focus in this episode was definitely Eda and Serkan's storyline. We had a little bit of side storylines going on. As always, I'm going to talk about them first and then we dive into the Eda and Serkan storyline. So first we have Erdem. He only appeared for a short amount of time, and when he appeared he gave us a hint on how Serkan will regain his memory. So he was talking to Leyla and said, well, what if Serkan gets hit again in the head? Maybe that will help him regain his memory. And Leyla was like, don't be so stupid, this can't be happening, blah blah blah. But that's what happened, but I'm going to talk about that later. Then we have Ceren finally making up with Eda. So she goes to Eda and apologizes for everything and tells her that she's retaking her medicine and please don't ask why she didn't take them, and she's going to the doctor that Ferit recommended to her and she just wants Eda's forgiveness. Eda, on the other hand, is also asking for forgiveness because she was only focused on her problems and not listening to Ceren, which I think was amazing. So I really liked that moment, and honestly I didn't really need that storyline because there are so many questions. So we don't know what Ferit saw on that piece of paper that he found in Ceren's house. We still don't know the story behind why she started taking the pills, and we don't really know what really triggered her to not take the pills anymore. I do think that it has something to do with Dennis and falling in love with him once again, but I'm not sure. I want to see that. So yeah, I'm really excited to see her getting closer to Ferit once again and seeing them together. Then we have Engin and Pırıl. Pırıl confronting Engin with the message that she got that he is cheating on her. He's really disappointed that she would even think that he would be capable of doing that, even though he's head over heels with her. And Pırıl wanted Melek to be the witness. So at first Melek wasn't really buying it, and when Engin was leaving really disappointed, Pırıl asked for forgiveness, was apologizing. I'm really sorry that I thought you'd be capable of doing that. But then we see him in a meeting room calling the yoga instructor, being really angry that he didn't intend for her to have any feelings towards him, to give her hope that there is a possibility of them ending up together. And Melek overhears it and then interferes and starts talking to the yoga instructor, don't destroy this family, blah blah blah. So yeah, that was also an unnecessary plot line in my opinion, just like the one with Ceren not taking her pills. Like, there were so many unnecessary plot lines where we could have just shortened them, let Serkan regain his memory even earlier, but okay. Then we have Aydan, Ayfer and Seyfi. Aydan finds out that Seyfi was the one that told the police about them trying to leave the country and leave Istanbul. Aydan fires him and then Seyfi goes to Ayfer and she's feeling sorry for him, but then she finds out that he was actually the one that told the police. So she calls Aydan to come and make up with him, and then he has this idea to go to his friend who has a tea shop or something to mix like a love potion, a love tea for Eda and Serkan. And before Aydan enters the shop, she sees Kemal, the new guy who rescued Eda, which I'm going to talk later about, but she sees him in the window and she's very confused. So she recognizes him, and in that moment I was like, oh my god, what if that's her first love that she wasn't allowed to marry? That rich guy that she worked for when she was little, kinda. And what if he's actually Serkan's father? That would be amazing. So I'm really excited for that storyline, because in Central Kapımı they started so many storylines but they didn't really end up being that great in my opinion, and I do think that this one really has potential and I'm really excited for it. Anyways, they go get the tea, but because the tea lady can't hear them really well, I do think that she mismixed a little bit. So Aydan, Ayfer and Seyfi are baking a cake with the tea inside and also making tea with it and trying to get Eda and Serkan, both of them, to Aydan's place to eat that. So Aydan is locking herself up, being a drama queen. Serkan trying to get her out of there. Aydan calling Ayfek that she's locked up and that she should come with Eda. So Eda comes and Serkan is like, you can't get my mother out because I tried everything. And then Eda is like, can you come out please, I want to see your face. And then Aydan just opens the door and is like, oh Eda, I'm so happy that you're here. And then Serkan is like, what the hell just happened? Like, I talked for so long and you didn't even budge. So anyways, they're all sitting together and then Aydan playing the victim. Why don't you love me and eat the cake that I made for you? Serkan is forcing himself to eat the cake. Everybody else is eating and drinking. After some time, you see that they're having a reaction. So they start laughing hysterically. They see a picture. So Eda sees herself sitting on the steps. Serkan sees her in the middle of flowers. Ayfek sees herself with Chef Alexander, if I'm not mistaken. So anyways, all of them are high. Eda and Serkan getting closer together. Her telling him that she can see all his feelings when he's looking at her and that she can hear his heartbeat when she's near him and stuff like that. And then he's like, well, you're getting married tomorrow. And then when they're about to kiss, Aydan falls or something like that and interrupts them. And it was just hilarious. So I really enjoyed watching them. Then we have Ferit. So Ferit is the one that took the pictures of Celine and Dennis. She tells Dennis about the pictures, obviously, that she got on the phone. He's deleting them, tries to find out who sent them, but the post office is not giving any information. So when Dennis is telling her that, Ferit is walking down the stairs and she's looking at him, and I do think in that moment she's like, oh, he has something to do with it. She confronts him. She's like, why are you doing this, blah blah blah. He tells her that he doesn't want to see Celine destroying the lives of people that he likes, and she's like, no, I don't need that, blah blah blah, deflecting. And he's like, yeah, sure. And I'm so happy that he was the one that he's kind of rubbing it in her face and kind of showing her, I told you so. You're making a big mistake with this whole I'm with Serkan, he belongs to me. That was one of my favorite moments in this episode. And I do think that's all with the side storylines, and we can dive into the Eda and Serkan storyline. So we start right where we left off, Eda falling into the sea. Celine is actually going to Serkan telling him that Eda is gone, which I was very surprised. In this episode, she even saw and understood that she lost Serkan once again to Eda. And I really like that she told them, because she could have been a bad person and be like, okay, I don't care about Eda, just die. But she didn't. She told Serkan that she went overboard. So Serkan is desperate to find her, even wants to jump into the sea. But they get a message or something like that from another boat not far from them. And they tell the boat that Serkan and Celine are on that they found Eda and that they rescued her. And that boat belongs to Kemal, the new guy, who I think is actually Serkan's father. And when they go to shore, Serkan is running to Eda, making sure that she's alright. Kemal sees it, kind of likes it, and then Dennis comes. Kemal is watching Serkan's reactions, being like, what is going on here? Dennis thanks Kemal for rescuing Eda because they're having a wedding in 2 days and they would like to invite him, blah blah blah, but Kemal declines. But he's watching Serkan's every move. That's also why I think that he has a connection with Serkan, and the only connection there can be is for Serkan to be his son. One more thing, Serkan finds the necklace that Eda lost. Then we see Engin and Serkan in the restaurant. Serkan giving up on this whole thing, trying to get Eda back. Engin is like, just admit it, you're in love with her. And then he's like, no, I can't do this, I'm too late. If she would have loved me, she wouldn't have married Dennis, blah blah blah, like a self-pity party. And I was like, oh my god, Serkan, be a little bit stronger, be a little bit more firm, and just fight for her till death. Then we also find out that when Serkan was calling the registry, blah blah blah, for the wedding day, Dennis was actually overhearing Serkan talking because he went back to get his phone. But I thought that he didn't listen, but he actually listened, and that's when he actually set the date for the wedding with the real marriage registry, blah blah blah. Then the next day, Serkan sees a poster of Eda and himself on the runway, and it was just hilarious, his reaction, and he didn't like it at all. He doesn't doesn't like this whole PR thing because he's an architect and his company is just about buildings and not fashion, blah blah blah. He doesn't like it at all those people talking about it. Even fangirls are coming and trying to get some pictures. Layla losing it, shoving them out. Celine is not happy about this kind of PR, but Ida is just telling him, just relax, take it as it is, blah blah blah, because every PR is good for us. Even Engin is excited for all the buzz that's happening around them and their company. So after Layla gets the fangirls out, Dennis is actually coming, and that's what tips Serkan over, and he's not having it anymore. He storms off, goes to Engin, vents to him, because that's the moment that Ida is showing Celine the ring that she has. And then when Serkan is storming off, you see Ida being quite disappointed because she didn't want Serkan to see the ring, just Celine. Then we see Ida and Dennis planning the wedding, their first dance and catering, blah blah blah, in the office while Serkan is trying to work, and his facial expressions were amazing. I love them so much. And then Layla comes in and tells Serkan that he made a mistake or something like that, and Ida is shocked that Serkan made a mistake, or he's saying that he made a mistake because he can't concentrate, because he wants to focus on work. But Ida is planning her wedding, blah blah blah, he can't do this anymore. So he goes to the office upstairs and tries to work, but he's having flashbacks of the time when he tried to stop Ida from going to Italy and told her that she's on his mind. Then Ida is going to the upstairs office trying to find some plans for the project. Serkan is coming out of the closet, I believe, tells her that he spilled something on him, that's why he had to change his shirt. And then Ida is questioning him why he's not able to look at her, look her in the eyes, and he's trying to avoid everything and asking him, are you jealous? Serkan is declining and trying to send her away, and Ida is then pulling him close and being like, well, you're going to marry Celine, but you can't silence your heart. And I do think that the translation was a little bit off, because I do think that he said something along the lines of, if she would really know him, she would know that as soon as he remember, he would fulfill his promise that he gave her, that he wouldn't leave her, kind of, if that makes sense. But then her answer is like, the Serkan that I know wouldn't listen to anybody else and wouldn't let anybody force him to do something that he wouldn't like. So I do think that she was referring to the Serkan-Celine marriage. And then Serkan is like, well, I do whatever I want. And then Ida is like, well, I do hope that you can finally think clear, but I also hope that it's not too late, if that makes sense. I don't know, it was kind of confusing with the translation, so that's just my interpretation. Then we have Ida spraying perfume in Serkan's office and overdoing it. Even Melek is like, you overdid it. And she takes Serkan's coffee cup and she's trying to read in coffee, and actually tells the story of their first night together, where Ida is waiting for him, where Curtain Gate was happening, and he was having those flashbacks. Then when he walks out, the woman who made Ida's dress comes in, is asking where Ida is because it's her wedding dress, blah blah blah, because it's a fitting. And at first Ida didn't really want to try it on, but then she went to the upstairs office, put it on. That's what we already saw in the trailer, where Serkan is coming upstairs, sees her, is mesmerized by her. But what I didn't quite understand was the fact that Melek was kind of hiding, but she didn't lock them up. So what was the purpose of her being near them? I don't know. Anyways, they're really close. Ida is hoping that Serkan will remember everything, because they always used to be like him, behind her kind of, and helping her with the dress or with whatever. But he just compliments her that she looks stunning. Oh, before that, I'm really sorry. Serkan is actually going to Celine's office after he saw the wedding dress lady. So he comes back with Celine and asks the lady to also make a wedding dress for Celine. I do think that was just kind of like to Ida, see, I'm also getting married, I can do it as well. And that's when Ida decides to try on the dress. So back to the moment where Serkan was helping Ida out of the dress, because he was telling her just get it off because this is a workplace, and she's like, well, you need to help me to get it off in order for me to dress in normal clothes. That's when he helps her. When he walks out, he has this physical reaction because he touches his heart once again. And Ada is really disappointed because he didn't have a flashback or remember her. So Ada wanted to get a book from the shelf and it was way too high up. So Serkan went up to her and helped her, and her hair caught in his vest, whatever. That's what I predicted. When Celine enters, it looks really weird from her perspective. So Celine loses it and then tries to rip Ada's hair out of Serkan's buttons or whatever. So everybody comes there. Figit is there, Engin, Pırıl. Then Ada is like, well, your jealousy is just over the top. Why would you rip out my hair? Blah, blah, blah. And then Ada talks to the girls and Serkan comes out, apologizes in the name of Celine. Oh, one thing that I was like, what the hell is happening? Serkan's hair. Like, what was that? Even Dennis's hair. What was that little thing at the back of his head? Like, why would you even do that? Like, the hair in this episode was just Then the next day we have the wedding day. Ayfek slips and tells Ada about the love cake. Ada is really down, crying, really hoping that Serkan will remember her. Serkan is also being really sentimental, looking at the necklace, seeing that he has feelings for her, but he's annoyed that he can't remember her. Aydan is trying to motivate him to fight for her and telling him that he should just stop the wedding and tell her that he loves her. And then he once again says, well, if she really loved me, then she wouldn't marry Dennis, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh my god, just do it. And then Aydan is telling him, well, either you go and tell her that you love her, or stay and just convince yourself that you don't love her. Then we see Serkan going to some bar, and I do think that it's the same restaurant bar that was in Dolunay. Anyways, we see Kemal once again watching Serkan. Engin also comes there and they're talking a little bit. Engin is like, well, why don't you come to the wedding, blah blah blah. He's like, it's too late, I can't do this, blah blah blah. I'm in love with her, but she's marrying Dennis. And then there's this guy, so I don't know who this guy is, but he's the hero of this episode in my opinion, because he starts a fight with Serkan, and then when he punches Serkan in the head, Serkan has all those flashbacks and he regains his memory. And then it was just so funny when he was trying to tell Engin that he remembers everything, and the fight continues and he gets more and more punches to the head, and then Engin grabs him when he finally hears that Serkan regained his memory by the punches. So he tells the guy, please punch him really hard in the head to finalize the memories, and it was just so hilarious. So when they're outside, Engin is telling him that Pırıl already messaged him. Serkan is like, I can't do this, it's too late, blah blah blah. Engin tells him, well, at least if you don't want to stop the wedding or anything, tell Ada that you remember her, because that's the least you can do, because she did so much for this relationship. Then we see Ada in her wedding dress, stress eating, and then Aydan and Seyfi coming dressed like they're at a funeral. Anyways, then we have a heart-to-heart between Ada and Aydan. Aydan telling Ada that she means a lot to her and that she wanted Ada to be her daughter-in-law, and she's really sad about it, that it's not happening, but Ada will always be a daughter to her. And it was just so heart-melting and so emotional. I really love that scene. Ada was desperately looking for Serkan, trying to find out if he already arrived, but everybody is saying no, he didn't come. So then we see Serkan in his car looking at the necklace, turning around and trying to stop the wedding, but when he arrives in the street, there's cars blocking the way. And then when he tries to reverse, cars are blocking his other way. So he's running away, running to the location, trying to stop the wedding. The official marriage registry guy, the person that is there to officiate, is a real person and not just a fake one, like Ada thought that Dennis arranged. So the woman that officiates the wedding, she asks Ada if she wants to marry Dennis. Ada is constantly looking if Serkan is around, but everybody is so disappointed when she says yes and not really happy for her. And then Serkan arrives and he goes to Celine, tells her that he remembers everything, he's sorry, he has to do that. So he goes to Ada, but before that he leaves his coat with Engin, and Engin was like a proud father seeing his son finally do the right thing. And then Serkan telling Eda that he remembers everything about their love, and I was so happy for them. Eda is also very happy. Then we see the hug from the trailer, and Eda is telling Serkan that it was all fake. She was trying to get him to remember her, and then the woman who officiates tells her, well, no, I'm a real person that officiates wedding, and this wedding is real. And then when they turn around, that's the end. And I was like, wait, Dennis didn't say yes, so the wedding is not really, like, the wedding is happening but the marriage is not sealed yet. I mean, he didn't say yes. And when Eda told Serkan everything and they were hugging, everybody was losing it, was so happy, so relieved that it was all fake and that Eda and Serkan are finally back together. Serkan and Eda looking at that woman that just told them that this marriage is real, and that's the end. Sadly, we didn't get a trailer right after the episode, so as of me filming this now, we don't have a trailer, but I do have a couple of predictions. I do think that for the story to continue kind of, or for them to continue this weird storyline that I don't really like, I really do hope that I'm wrong in this case, but I do think that while Serkan and Eda were hugging each other, I do think that Dennis said yes, and that's why the marriage is happening and real. But at the same time, I'm like, well, they didn't sign anything, and as long as nothing is signed, the marriage is not real and not legal, in my opinion. I really do hope that nothing happened and Eda and Serkan can be back together. I do think that Kemal will lurk a little bit more around Aydan and Serkan, but I do hope that he will reveal himself in the near future. I do hope in the next episode, because otherwise them dragging one more storyline, I'm so over it and I don't want that to happen. So yeah, what else do I see? I really do hope that next episode we see Eda and Serkan back together. Celine and Dennis maybe fight together, but I do think that Celine finally saw that she was defeated once again, so Dennis will be the only enemy remaining. Kemal revealing himself, I don't think that he will tell Serkan immediately. I do think that he will get close to Aydan first, and then in the next couple of episodes, so 2 more episodes or so, when Serkan will find out about Kemal. I do hope that Eda and Serkan will start planning their wedding once again. Ceren and Ferit getting back together. And I do think that's all that I can say for this episode and for next episode. I hope I said everything. I hope I mentioned everything. If I forgot anything, I'm really sorry. If you still like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Ring that bell to be notified whenever I post something, and I will see you next time. Bye!